Hey everybody, Elizabeth Varian here. I am recording this actually right before we do the teaching session, just so I know I have it done for tomorrow and you guys won't be delayed in waiting. Now please know in the background there's actually a Bible study going on the other side of the wall here at my office. So you can hear the ladies. They're going to get a little loud, but who cares? Praise God. They're lifting up their spirits and energy. So are we. So we'll just tolerate, no issues at all. I've got my double screen here. So anyway, so Elizabeth Varian here again. Tonight we're going to talk about the law of attraction techniques and strategies for believing and the mind, and so it begins. Last night, the Facebook Live video we did was Law of Attraction 101 teaching. We talked about why believing is important and how the mind's thoughts are energy. How believers, or people that are beginners, I should say, they need to learn to believe in it, understand it, and make a decision regarding whether they believe in manifestation. For advanced people, we need to be reminded sometimes. We need to come back to the basics, and before we set intentions, we have to make sure to, check within ourselves that we do believe going forward that this is going to happen, that we deserve it, that it really does work. Our thoughts really are energy. This table is energy. This laptop and the lights and everything, my glasses and the necklace, everything is energy. So today we're going to give you some, or I'm going to, I guess I'm not a we, give you some techniques and strategies for helping you with setting your beliefs in alignment with the law of manifestation. And the three laws under that are creation, attraction, and allowing. I will constantly be reminding you of that because people will usually only use one of these terms to mean all of them. But they're very specific laws, and there's very specific things that you do in each law. And oddly enough, we're doing all three laws at the same time on any given day. So, but I will always reiterate, and we will be covering in the near future what each of these laws are. I'm also going to create a checklist so that you can just print it off and get it from the group's file system. I'll let you know when that's live. So Norman Vincent Peale said, when you expect the best, you release a magnetic force in your mind, which by a law of attraction tends to bring the best to you. When you expect the best, you're releasing that magnet force in through the mind that it's going to then bring the best to you. So we got to get our mindset on the best, right? So let's talk about discover and decide. That was one of the things that we discussed about believing. And ultimately, the bottom line is you have to make a decision. And it is in that decision, I can't recall if I talked on it or not, but if you make a decision to do X, Y, Z, or A, I should say, you have now canceled out other things. If I believe that a movie is great, then I cancel out hearing negative reviews about it. If I believe a person is honest, I'm going to cancel out any gossip about them being dishonest, or I'm going to question it. So by making a decision, we have to cancel out. So by making the decision of law of manifestation, creation, attraction, allowing that they're real, then I've canceled out any negative thoughts or any thing that comes up or people that come into my life that say, you know what, that isn't real, that's all hokey. You know what, I've made a decision. So I'm canceling that out. So we've got to get ourselves so that we do that. So how can we do it? Okay, different strategies work for different people. It depends on your personality. It depends on how you interpret things and your filters, any of your past beliefs, how you work and what best works. And so I'm going to give you 3 different techniques for how to discover and decide. And you can do, like I do, all 3, or you can do and choose one. And you may not know which works best for you. When you sit down to do one, you'll get that, I don't want to do this. That could either be your mind going, we don't want to do this stuff. We want to stay in comfort zone. But it could also be your personality. You're going to have to check within yourself and, just say, okay, I'm going to give it a try. If I just don't follow through, I have no connection to it, then it's not for me. And that's perfectly okay. So the first thing for discover and decide what you do believe, the first thing I do is everything I put in writing. You can also meditate on or talk to yourself. Some people, when they hear the sound of their own voice, the words, they'll actually pay more attention than someone else telling them something. I know when I have dreams and I'm giving a lecture, I know that's God's way of telling me something, because apparently I listen to me. But actually a majority of of the world is that way. So if you want, one strategy or technique is to, let's start with write a letter. Write a letter and just start out. And if you're like I am, where you don't like blank sheets of paper, when I journal, I always start out with like a letter, dear El Shaddai, God Almighty, dear Lord God, dear God Universe, dear whomever, dear self, dear Elizabeth, okay? And start just writing. Initially, when you start writing, it'll be forced. But as you start writing, I believe that this in law of attraction. I believe that I can attract things to myself. Do I really believe it? And as you start asking questions about creating, do I believe that I can create? Some people may say, well, I do believe I create, but I can only create with the hand of God. Perfectly fine. I believe that I can create. God is in me. Namaste. That which is higher in me recognizes that which is higher power in you. Whatever it is, start out. I believe about creating. And then just start letting it flow. And after the first couple of sentences or so, you're going to start realizing what you really believe will start coming out. And then you're going to focus on, what do I believe about the law of attraction? Turn that off. Or attracting. And creating, you're creating. Attracting, you're pulling into you. So what do you believe about what you are a magnet for? Start writing just a couple sentences. And then continue and let it start flowing out. Then obtaining or being at peace waiting for something. I would say then the last thing would be, what do you believe about your worthiness? Do you believe that you have to work to earn a certain income? You have to work harder? Do you believe that, that you only get something if you give something? There's some people that I've ran into in this law of attraction world, if you will, that said that you can only attract things for other people. That's actually a limiting belief. It's not actually true. It's not true. But it's true for them because that's their belief. And their belief will not go further than, or their attraction won't go further than their belief. So start writing. What do I believe about creating? What do I believe about manifestation? What do I believe about attracting and obtaining? And then my self-worth. If you don't want to write a letter, you can meditate on it. Some people, pen and paper is just too much like school. It doesn't work for them. But they can sit quietly and just start thinking about it. And they'll get that realization of, what do I believe? And other people get in front of a mirror and start self-talk and start asking those questions. What do I believe about manifestation? What do I believe about creation and me as a creator? And what do I believe about me as a magnet and obtaining what I desire? What do I believe about my self-worth? That is one of the very first ways. And if you look at relationships, if there's a problem or addiction and there's a problem, one of the first things they say is you have to acknowledge there's a problem. I have to talk to that person. I know it's crazy. We should just stuff it, right? No, relationships don't work that way. But that's exactly what you need to do here. Now, if you're advanced and you've been doing law of attraction and manifestation and creation all your life, and, Elizabeth, this is so basic, you need to go back and check yourself. This year, I got out of check, and I had to go back and go, wait a minute, what do I really believe? I need to get my beliefs back in alignment. And every layer of the onion of our life that gets peeled back means our belief and what we believe has to go even deeper. And we got to stand firm in that belief. Okay? So that's the first thing. Write a letter, meditate, or talk to yourself in the mirror. Talking to someone else would be nice if you're a person that you communicate better. But I want you to put your listening ears on. I'm a person who naturally processes while I talk. It's also why I get off rabbit holes and why I have notes in front of me so I don't get too far off topic. Because I will check myself and go, oh, wait, that's not what I mean. I meant this instead. So if you're that type of person that when you're talking to someone else, you actually listen and process what you're saying, that's great. Just make sure you have someone who's an active listener who will just receive and will be a sounding board for you. And the reason is because you don't want their beliefs to be injected into yours. And you don't want them to ask you questions that'll take you off point or go, well, I don't think you believe that. That's not what you want. And obviously you want someone who agrees with you or will be welcoming for this topic. So you can talk to someone else, write a letter, meditate, but you really do have to get solid. If you do not believe in the law of manifestation, then you don't need to be in this group because nothing's going to work for you. And if you are advanced and this is not new stuff to you, you've been there, done that, but you haven't checked your belief lately, you haven't sat down and got clear on what you believe, then you need to do that as well. I have to do it throughout my life because as an empath, I get involved too much energy around me that I have to pull back and check myself. So that's the first thing. The second thing for discover and decide what you believe is make a clear, concise decision to stand firm in the belief that all laws of manifestation, creation, attraction, and allowing are working, period. Stand firm in it. And that same power within you that creates what doesn't work can recreate what does work. You have to believe it because as we go along, you're going to learn that there are certain things that you thought you were specific on, you really weren't. So you really want to know and believe that instead of getting frustration, you're going to say, right now, I believe that all laws of manifestation are working. And that the same power within me that created what didn't work at this moment can work to recreate what does. I now know a better way to state it. And that will help you when you get frustrated because something showed up and it's like, nah, that ain't what I meant. So set the belief now that no matter what, you're going to hold steadfast to the laws of manifestation that they work. And by determining that and making that decision as a foundation, you will not be swayed like the wind, a boat in the sea without the steering wheel, that shifts you all around. You're going to be steadfast, holding on to that steering wheel. And then when the waters get rough, you're going to still go full force ahead. You're going to get to your destination. It may take a little moving this way and a little moving that way to readjust, but you're going to get there. So stand firm in your belief, but you have to make that decision. And we call this techniques and strategies, but these are just a givens. You have to make the decision. You will be so swayed the second you start believing in and doing manifestation. Your mind will try and get you to go back to what's comfortable. Your friends and family that love you so much will still go, really? Is that what you should be doing? And you don't want to be swayed. You want to stand steadfast and stand firm. The third thing for discover and decide is basically pray, meditate, ask out loud for God, universe, whoever you call your higher power, to show you the magic and the miracles in your life. And that was actually part of last week's take and see action work. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. So go watch last week's video. It's on our YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube, go look in the playlist. If you're watching on Facebook, go look in our videos. So last week we got rid of the word homework, but homework assignment was to believe in magic and expect to see magic and miracles everywhere. So, but if you stop and however you ask for things to come about, pray, meditate, ask out loud for God, universe, or higher power to show you the magic and miracles in your life. And as they show up, then like Thomas, you will see seeing is believing. So the next part was proving to yourself, which even though I talked about Thomas and how, Jesus said, blessed are those who believe but don't see. There are actually some ways and some other people who have some techniques out there that can help you if you're brand new and you need to have it proven to you. If you've been doing this for years, you already know. In fact, there's a post in the group that says, list any manifestations that you can remember that you've already done. Your homework is to go and write that down because we always need to be reminded. It really does work. I've done it once, I can do it again. And that post will help other people to know that it is possible. It's not just Elizabeth in the group who watches this camera and that camera and types every now and then that she can do it. It'll show that other members can do it. So if you're advanced and you've been doing this for years, go to that, find that post. It's one of the first posts from last week, and write out what have you manifested. If you're on YouTube, write it in the comments down below, things that you have manifested for real. I've manifested cruise trips, I've manifested cars, I've manifested jobs, I've manifested yacht outings, things that are important to me that I like. I don't have a family. I don't, need to worry about kids and things of that nature. But whatever it is that you love, there's no right or wrong answer. Anything you've manifested. I've manifested the wrong guys before. Stop that. We're going to shift and do the right guys. And so for advanced people, write exactly what it is you have manifested. That remembering is always good. If you are a beginner, then I'm going to put in the post and in the description on YouTube 2 links. The first one is it's a $6 hard copy book. And as a person who's been doing this for years, sometimes these things get annoying to me just because I don't want to manifest butterflies. I want to manifest $60,000 a month. I don't want to manifest green cars or red cars. I want to manifest me owning my BMW. So been there, done that. You can't always, go back in this regard, or at least in my mindset. It's my limiting belief, I guess. So, but if you're a beginner, if you've never manifested before, there's a couple of things that are fantastic. One is a nominal fee of $6 on Amazon, and the other one is actually a freebie if you join a group, and it's a group that I belong to. So the first one is Prove to Yourself It's Real. Pam Grout, G-R-O-U-T, has a book called E Squared. It has 9 do-it-yourself energy experiments, and she totally sets it up like a science experiment, which is why I liked the book originally. I love science. I like hypothesis. I like theorizing. I like proving a hypothesis, and that's exactly what she does. and I'll include the link. And yes, it's an affiliate link, but it's a nominal affiliate link. It's still $6 on Amazon for hard copy. But I recommend it. I have both the hard copy and I have the Kindle version because I wanted to remember, if you will. But then, of course, I didn't want to follow hers. I wanted to do my own thing. I want the big stuff. So the other thing is write yourself into belief. So remind yourself daily to keep your eyes open with Sara Prout, P-R-O-U-T. Sorry. I've got Grout and Prout. I didn't realize I did two people with the exact same name except for the first letter. What the heck? So Sara Prout is a young lady in Australia who I've actually followed her, and I've done a lot of her strategies because strategies and techniques are not always the same. For you Christians out there, Jesus didn't heal everybody the same. Your law of manifestation doesn't have to always be the exact same technique. And it won't always be the same technique. So what you do is, I'm going to put the link again in the post or in the YouTube description. You join her Facebook manifesting group. I'm not affiliated with her. She doesn't know I'm adding it. I could probably tag her in it so she knows. But then you go into the file section of the group after you've been approved, and you look for LOA dailyplanner.pdf. And in there on the side, if you print out one for every day, keep it with you. It reminds you to look for different manifestations, to look for different miracles, to keep your eyes open. Some people, when they see it written down, then all of a sudden it shows up. Other people don't need to write it down. So those two ideas right there alone will help you to prove to yourself and to have seeing is believing. So before I wrap up here, I do want to cover, first of all, as you do these strategies, feel free to comment on this post or to our group. Post right directly into the group page what your experiences are after you write your letter, make your decision, when you decide, to meditate and ask for God, does something happen? Not necessarily right away, but keep your eyes and make sure he taps you on the shoulder to let you know. If you read Pam's book, I'm not going to go for their last name since Grout and Prout rhyme. If you read Pam's book and do an experiment, write it down. Come back and tell us how it goes. How many butterflies did you see? How many green cars did you see? If you do Sarah's planner, come back and let us know how it worked for you. Just share your experience so we can all get that energy of joy together. If you have questions or problems, post those as well. So from last week's homework, I had said our take and see action work was see magic and miracles everywhere. So that was just on Friday. And this is Wednesday that I'm recording it for Thursday. So my experience so far was I got so busy, I forgot to pay attention. I realized Saturday that I hadn't been doing my own homework or take see action work. Really? You're the teacher. What the heck? So I stopped on Sunday after I ran myself rampant on Saturday, and I journaled and I prayed. Lord God, let me open my eyes to recognize and see the magic that was available in my world. And I don't recall where it's at. I think it's in Psalms. There is a verse that says, open thy eyes to see thy great wonders of the world. It's the same thing. And, it's a wonderful psalm, and I'll look it up and see if I can find it to quote it for you. But I basically prayed that. And so the results so far actually was Sunday night. Sunday night I went to a sound circle, and there was an astrologer there, which I've kind of kept away from astrologers, and my initial limiting belief was no, but I was glad that I let it down, because in her speaking about the full moon and what was going on with this planet and that planet and Mr. Neptune, who seems like an obnoxious, annoying little guy, and until you visualize, and then Gemini and Sagittarius, opposite buddies, and this, that, and the other. While she was talking about it, she then shifted to the next 22 days and said, this is a time of religion and spirituality. This is the time for beginning and getting focused on religion and spirituality. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just felt a check in my spirit, because she basically told me I was on my right path with this teaching and this group. And she had no clue. And that's usually when you know you've gotten a little bit of magic or a miracle or what I call a God appointment. Then afterwards, she and I spoke, and she gave me a little bit of information that I needed to hear and didn't realize I needed to hear. My mom had done my astrology chart when I was a kid, but I don't remember what it is, and I still don't know what, anything's on it. I just remembered my childish ways. The word Uranus was on it because, I'm still childish. I'm a 5-year-old in a 45-year-old body. And I told her, I said, well, I'm an Aquarius. I know there's something about Uranus, which she repronounced Uranus. Sounds better. So based on that little bit of information, she was giving me some feedback that I don't need to share here. I know my time is limited, but it was fantastic. I felt elated. My spirit energy was bouncing off the walls. I was so tired all Sunday from Saturdays running around and cleaning and doing, chores and everything. But I left there as though I had taken 5 jolts of espresso. And that, my friends, is magic, is a miracle, and it's what I needed. And I didn't ask for it specifically. I asked to see the magic, and I asked to see miracles. The other thing in the sound circle is while Barbara was playing the singing bowls, I had sat in my chair, which was a little bit uncomfortable, but I was sitting near the stairs and I put my feet up. One thing you don't know is about 2 months ago, almost 3, in late September, early October, I ended up where my hands started getting numb and tingling. And it started in a rowing class. As I was rowing, the knuckles, the first part of my knuckles started getting numb. By the time I left and drove home, my entire hand was numb. And I've been going to the chiropractor twice a week ever since. Sometimes it gets better, sometimes it isn't. It did happen after a moment of rejection. Literally, the rejection happened on a Thursday night. It was Saturday morning that this happened. And I do know they're connected because energy, it comes out in your body. But I wanted to know, if I went to get a massage, what specific areas do I need to focus on? During the sound circle, I felt pinpoints of exactly where on my back, my neck, and then these muscles here. The chiropractor had been focusing on just this one muscle along here. Turns out it was both. I was like, thank you. I knew what it was. And Monday, I stayed late at work, and I ended up finding that Groupon and Living Social were offering 20% off the already low rate discounts. And since I didn't want to spend a lot of money, I went on there and I stayed there. I ended up getting 4 massages for 50 to 90 minutes, individuals, for around just $100. That's fantastic. I'm excited. So I'm going to be booking those tomorrow. And then Tuesday, when I was writing an introduction, I realized that my sleep patterns are equal to my 20s now. I've been having problems with oversleeping. I could sleep 12 hours and wake up tired the next day for the last year and a half. But I realized that since starting this group, all of a sudden I've got energy and I'm awake again. So this is why I want you to keep your eyes open to see the magic and see the miracles. Tomorrow night will be another take and see action work assignment video. It will follow the suit of this week's topics of believing in our thoughts being energy. So make sure to participate and get active in the group so that you too can make 2018 amazing. Thanks so much, and check out our group if you're on YouTube. The link is in the description. If you're on Facebook, get active on the posts. I'll talk to you later. Bye.